Episode 6. Kin. Hello, gamers. How are you doing today? Today, we are going through my personal favorite episode of Season 1 of The Last of Us. Now, this season is huge in terms of character development. All the little things that we have been seeing through Joel so far, all the little problems, all the little quirks of Joel, his emotional detachment, his issues with failing, his anxiety even, that we sort of seen here, his deafness, his failing to save Ellie having to save Joel. It's all gonna come to a head here. We're all gonna see a huge moment with Joel and Ellie to a certain extent. This episode is huge. I fucking love this episode. And I even love it more because I rewatched this episode for this series, this analysis series, right after episode 2 of season 2. And if you've seen that episode, it made me appreciate this one just a little bit more. We are cruising through this season, going through the game at a breakneck pace, in my opinion. I thought we'd be taking a little bit more time with this season, but honestly, it ain't bad. Some people have complained about how fast this season has gone. Honestly, it feels fluid to me. Would I have mind if they taken a little slower path? No, honestly, I wouldn't have. Maybe a couple more episodes to really dive into things, but I'm not complaining. I like the pacing of this season. It doesn't feel rushed, is what I'm getting at. Even though I thought we'd be taking our time here, last episode left off on a very tragic note. We lost Henry and Sam in a very brutal way. We start this episode 3 months after the last. Joel and Ellie are holding up an old Native American couple. They're asking for directions, and the old lady fed them. It's a funny way to start an episode. Joel and Ellie have almost completely bonded at this point. This native guy is my spirit animal, who's this little psycho. We get a warning by these people, though. West of the upcoming river, some group leaves bodies behind. Death is past this river. Leaving the cabin, Joel has a panic attack, something we only get a hint of in the games. At the beginning of the first game, playing as Sarah still, we can find a bottle of anxiety medication in the bathroom. That is the only thing that we have as evidence for Joel having an anxiety condition. Here in the show, they explore it thoroughly. Joel has a straight up panic attack in fear of his brother and in fear of Ellie. At camp, Ellie watches the stars, a subtle hint to her dreams of being an astronaut. Joel gives Ellie a little bit of his flask. He tells her to go to sleep. Joel will stay up for the night, but he fails. Fuck! He does end up accidentally falling asleep. He has to be woken up by Ellie. He fails. Ellie had to take over his watch. Joel, being the old stubborn man that he is, says to wake him up next time. Joel is afraid. On their little journey, they get stopped by some mysterious people on horses. They demand Joel to drop the gun. They have dogs that can smell the infected.
Fuck.
Dogs go to sniff them for infection. Joel again is stopped in his tracks, horrified they'll smell the infection in Ellie. And we get a close-up on Joel's face. He's absolutely horrified, and he can't do anything. Even if the dog smells her, he can't do anything. He'd be standing there helpless as a dog rips Ellie apart. Somebody that he has formed a bond with, somebody he actually does care about for the first time since Tess, really. But nothing happens. They get lucky, and a mysterious lady on a horse asks for Joel's name, and they take them back to their little settlement. For the first time, we see an actual functioning town. It's very beautiful. As they stroll through, he sees him, our boy. He finally finds his brother. Ellie, looking a little jealous here. She's been on this journey with this man all this time. Ellie has a very strong sense of loyalty. Joel has essentially become her dad at this point. She's asked him to teach her things like hunting, and she defends him whenever he has failed so far. Ellie is insanely loyal to her own, and seeing Joel hug his brother right there, we see that in Ellie. She doesn't want to lose somebody else. Our boy Tommy over here has been busy building this town. That lady who was on the horses is actually the wife of Tommy. They're the leaders of this settlement. I think it's the only truly peaceful town we have seen in this world. Maria is her name. She takes Ellie while Tommy and Joel catch up. Tommy asks Joel about Tess. He brushes it off, saying she's fine. Apparently, there's a Firefly camp in the University of Eastern Colorado. Joel tries to get Tommy to go, but apparently Tommy is going to be a father soon. That was not in the game whatsoever. They bicker like classic siblings. Tommy is haunted by the things that they did to survive, while Joel accepts it. Joel sees this world as very brutal, and he just kind of becomes it. Joel is jealous of Tommy having a kid. Almost the same way Ellie is jealous of Joel for hugging his brother. Ellie and Joel are very similar in that regard. Tommy says,
"Just because life stopped for you, doesn't mean it has to stop for me."
On the way out of the bar, Joel sees somebody that would look like Sarah if she didn't pass years ago. He has another panic attack. Life is suddenly catching up with Joel. He realizes that he does really care for Ellie. And finding his brother again, all of these emotions are hitting him like a semi-truck. I hope you're seeing why I like this episode so much. It's a huge moment for character development. Ellie, after taking a shower, wanders around Tommy and Maria's house. Maria seems to have lost a child as well. There's a chalkboard and a memorial for 2 children, Kevin and Sarah. You know, there is something to say here. Joel didn't just lose a daughter, but Tommy also lost a niece. And this is a nice way to remember her. Tommy, in my opinion, is such an underutilized character. He has his entire character arc behind the scenes, and at this point, both the show and the game. I don't know if they're ever going to make more content in this universe, but please, for the love of God, give me Tommy content please. Tommy deserves it, alright? Tommy has such an amazing... He has like an Arthur Morgan type of character path in the games. We have not finished the season 2 of the show yet, so I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to go with Tommy for the show, but at least in the games, man, he has this beautiful character arc that's completely in the background for most of the cases. Maria cuts Ellie's hair. She informs Ellie about Sarah. Ellie is finally knowledgeable on what happened to Sarah. Ellie's obviously kind of confused on this info. She's conflicted. In that context, it looks like Joel is simply replacing his dead daughter with Ellie. And from an outside context, it sounds a bit creepy, a bit weird. Maria criticizes Joel, but Ellie gets defensive. Another example on how loyal this girl is. But Maria says something that cuts a little deep.
Be careful who you put your faith in. The only people who can betray us are the ones we trust.
I like this Maria lady. Alright, Maria, she's spitting facts. She's spitting straight facts. Alright, Maria's a smart one. Ellie goes to the movies while Joel and Tommy have another conversation. They apologize to one another. Joel admits that Ellie is immune. This trip is extremely important. He completely breaks down. He's terrified. He finally admits that he is terrified, that he's gonna fail too many times and get her killed. What's so fascinating in Joel this time around, unlike the video game, Joel is much more vulnerable. He does fail. He sleeps in on accident. He doesn't hear Henry. Ellie has to shoot a guy to save his life, which is in the game, but it just adds another point to this. Joel's skill is slipping, and he knows that. We see his anxiety of this build up to an actual panic attack. This is nothing like video game Joel. Yet again, the only hint that Joel has anxiety in the video game is that prologue, when the player is still playing as Sarah. I find the character this time around much more compelling than the video game. For the video game, it works, right? Joel is a complete brick shithouse in the video game, alright? He is a unit. And that works because you have to play as Joel. Having a Joel that constantly fails and constantly has these slip-ups in the video game mechanically wouldn't really work. It would feel disjointed. Sure, you can just like put that in the cutscenes, but it would feel a little weird when you're actually playing as Joel that murks everybody. But in the cutscenes, he's like this little weakling, you know? It wouldn't really work. You have to have a Joel that is consistent in the video game. But in the show, I don't think it would translate well if he was just murking everybody constantly, you know? He's just, imagine if he rocked up in Kansas City and then he just annihilates everybody. Like it just wouldn't really translate well. I think TV shows, their medium does very well with drama. And we needed a little bit of more of that for this show to really hit, if that makes sense, all right? If I am making sense, okay? I think we needed this version of Joel for the show to really hit as hard as it did. We needed a more vulnerable Joel. We needed a Joel that actually goes a little bit more in depth with his anxiety problem, with his fears. TV shows do that really well. Joel fails, and it's Ellie ending up taking care of him, and that just reinforces Joel's worries that he won't be able to keep this girl he is slowly starting to care for alive. He's horrified that it will be Sarah all over again. This is my favorite scene of the season. I keep seeing complaints online, headlines saying things like, this isn't Joel and Ellie. Like, no shit. Watch this scene. This is nothing like video game Joel, and that's the point. This is a much more emotional Joel. In my opinion, a more human Joel. This is a version of Joel that would do great on the television screen in comparison of the brick shithouse of the video game. It's a different version, and proudly so. I kind of understand the points of view of these people. They want to see their characters for how they were in the games. But I don't know. I think copying the source material is a little lazy. I already said how you do an adaptation, but I'll say it again. The key factor is to keep the soul of the adaptation. Keeping the soul of what you're adapting. Copying isn't the solution. I just play the game if that's what I wanted. You keep the soul of what you're adapting and play into the medium of what you're adapting to. Adapting to a television show gives us so many other opportunities, like seeing this version of Joel. The Kansas City plot with Kathleen is also a fantastic example. Joel begs Tommy to take Ellie. Tommy is still young and strong, and Joel is confident he'll make it there, and Tommy accepts. Joel comes in to give Ellie the bad news. She's obviously hurt and defensive, and we get another great scene back to back. Ellie is losing another person here. She's losing her person. She's losing her figurative father. Ellie says,
I'm not her, you know.
Which touches a little nerve.
I beg your pardon?
This episode is so... My fucking cat just fell. You're dumb! This episode is so damn good, and we still have 20 minutes left. God damn. Joel goes to bed thinking of Sarah. In the morning, Ellie gets a knock at the door. She says, come in, and it's Tommy. The look of disappointment on her face. I bet she was hoping Joel would change her mind. They go to the stables, and Joel is there, getting a horse ready. He was planning on leaving, but he just couldn't leave that stable. He wants to give Ellie a choice, and Ellie has no hesitation. Joel and Tommy say their farewells and part ways. And Joel and Ellie fast travel to Colorado. He teaches her how to shoot. He has fully accepted her as his daughter at this point. Eventually, they make it to that university. No one's home, though. It's empty. They have a lot of banter similar to the games during this whole section, and for the first time, it won me over. You know, I have mentioned in the previous videos that I do love the dialogue in this show. However, like, whenever they say the video game dialogue, it does kind of make me cringe a little bit. But right here, it kind of wins me over. I do like it. I do appreciate it. I think it's very adorable between these two now. I think it's justified. Joel mentions that he used to want to be a singer, and Ellie says, "You're singing for me later." The Fireflies have completely abandoned this camp. They do find a map, however, that leads to Salt Lake City. That's the next location for these two. Voices can be heard from outside, some hooligans walking around, and they try to sneak their way back to the horses, but they get caught. Joel fights them off and gets the upper hand, but in the process, he gets stabbed. And the episode ends with them trying to ride away, but Joel falls off the horse, and Ellie begging for him to cling on to life. This episode is up there. It is my favorite episode in the entire season. Everything in Jackson is fantastic. Joel finally accepting Ellie fully as his daughter, for real, and the ending is thrilling. There's only a couple of episodes left, gamers. Then we'll immediately go through the second season. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We're almost done. We only got a couple more. I'll see you all next time.